In London, or even in the diaspora, I keep it locked because I watch Ben Television, Ben TV. Don't touch that dial.
1, 2, 3. Car Entertainment presents the Boat Cruise on Saturday, 26th October 2013. Location Tower Pier, nearest station Tower Hill. Ticket £40 at www.eventbrite.co.uk. Boarding time 9 p.m. sharp. Music by DJ Goodluck, DJ Dubwise and DJ TZ, stand-up comedians and more. For more information and booking, call Arthur Don Goody on the numbers on the screen. Remember, it's the Car, the boat cruise on Saturday 26th October. Come and be part of the greatest night of the year.
This event is supported by
Hi folks, my name is Niger Deltans, but my friends and fans do call me D1. Whenever I'm in London, or even in the diaspora, I keep it locked because I watch Ben Television, Ben TV. Don't touch that dial.
You're welcome to Ben Television, broadcasting live from London. My name is Kayode Ogundamisi, and this is your program, Politics with KO. And tonight, we've got a special guest, controversial, you say. Well, someone said to me, she's controversial, but I'm going to have Donu Kogbara, and from Nigeria, Akpobari Celestine will be calling in to tell us what's happening in Ogoni land. Donu Kogbara is a print broadcast journalist and communications consultant. She grew up in the UK, studied history and political science at Leicester University, and started her career in London. She worked for many distinguished media organizations, the BBC, Channel 4, Economics Intelligence, and Times, Guardian, and Daily Mail in the UK. She lived in Abuja full-time between 1999 and 2011 and was a founding member of the presidential committee that drafted the first petroleum industry bill under the chairmanship of two ministers of petroleum resources, Rilwan Olukmon and Dr. Edmond Dakarau. Donu now shuttles between the UK and Nigeria, and she's a member of the board, the Greater Port Harcourt City Development Authority, which was set up by Governor Rotimi Amechi. She has a weekly column in Nigeria's Vanguard newspaper, and she owns a consultancy firm called African Access. Her hobbies include reading, fine dining, and traveling. But first, I'll pass you through to our girl, Ngozi Gail. Gail will tell us what's happening in and around the world, and we'll come back and go straight on the way forward for Nigeria and the state of the nation with Donu Kogbara. Thank you. Ngozi?
Yes, Kate, thank you very much. Today I'm going to start with the Twitter trend. So what's trend on Twitter is one of the biggest ones for us is that the UK authorities are set to send back foreign prisoners. These are prisoners who are, of course, non-British, back to their countries of origin where they are meant to serve out the rest of their sentencing. This is because they say they're trying to crack down on the fact that the UK taxpayers are the ones picking up the bills for paying for the foreign criminals who are in the country. And statistics have shown that there's 1 in 8 prisoners are foreigners. Of course, this means that there are over 250 Nigerian prisoners set to be sent back to Nigeria. And David Cameron himself has said that he's personally going to take an involvement in making sure that prisoners are sent back to Nigeria to cut down on this British taxpayer footing the bill. It costs apparently up to £40,000 to take care of 1 prisoner per year. So the authorities have also said that they're willing to give up about £1 million to countries such as Nigeria to help improve the state of the prisons in that country or build new ones. And this eventually will help in speeding up the processes of sending these prisoners back to their country of origin. We'll wait and see how that will work out. Follow us, like we said, on Twitter and let us know your thoughts on those. Secondly, we'll move on to health, and this is exciting for me because it's something, of course, that a lot of people would love to hear. GlaxoSmithKline, which is the UK's biggest drug maker, has been developing a vaccine, actually a malaria vaccine, for the past 3 decades, and are now looking to get regulatory approval. If this goes on, it means that, of course, this is going to help in cutting down the problems of malaria around the world, especially in Africa. The drug giant said that it's doing this because it has done a trial of the vaccine in over 7 countries in Africa and in over 15,000 children. The medication apparently helped cut down over 25% of malaria illnesses in infants and young children. Moving on now, football. So Nigerian Super Eagles are set to play Italy in a friendly match in the Fulham Football Ground, Craven Cottage, here in London, on the 16th of November, on the 18th, I beg your pardon, of November. Of course, if they do this, that means it's going to be 2 days immediately after playing with the Ethiopians on the second leg of the championship coming up in November in Calabar in Nigeria. Don't forget that just this Sunday past, Nigerian Super Eagles won 2-1 against the first leg playoff. So we wish them the very best, of course. Even though it's a friendly, we still wish them well. Finally, entertainment. So there's a big news about the first ever Igbo movie that's been done and shot all in Igbo here in London. And this is a movie by the same director as Last Flight to Abuja and The Mirror Boy, which is Obi Omelonye, of course. Now, Obi Omelonye is saying that this is a small personal thing that he's done, this film, but he promises that it's going to be a big deal in the fact that he's trying to bring back Igbo culture, which statistics have shown that in the next 50 years is likely to go out of fashion, you know, speaking Igbo. So there's going to be a global premiere tomorrow in London here, and because the global premiere means that wherever you're logged into, you can watch this live as it happens. So Obi Malone is saying join them on the red carpet and enjoy this premiere. And that is all from me. Don't forget to join us. Follow us on Twitter and let us know what you think about the news that's going on. And I'm going to pass you back to Kayode now for the program Politics. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Ngozi. What Ngozi is not telling us is that she's also going to be, she's in that movie. And, well, we wish you the best of luck. First, I have Celestine Akpobari. Celestine, can you hear us? Celestine is from Ogoni land in Nigeria. Good evening, Celestine.
Good evening, Kayode.
Yes, Celestine, we're very happy to have you, and thanks for agreeing to come on this platform, because the Niger Delta is, of course, of concern to people internationally. What is happening in Ogoniland now?
Well, in about 2 weeks' time, we'll be marking the 18th anniversary of the murder of Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni rights activists. And so we are busy making preparation to commemorate that event. And again, just last week, we had an oil spill in one of the farming communities of Ogoni, precisely in Bono, Tai local government area. And this was coming just about a week after a fishing community board rejected an offer from Shell for a massive spill in their community. So we're thinking that by now that the federal government of Nigeria will have commenced implementation of UNEP report, which recommended decommissioning. I think that if they have started implementation of that report, which is just over 2 years after it was submitted, that by now we would have not been talking about anymore. So
Celestine, I'm sorry to cut you short. It's quite amazing. How many years after Ken Saro-Wiwa's passing, are you still saying things are the same, or they've gone worse, or they've improved?
Yeah, this is I think this is about 18 years after Ken was murdered. I tell you that the situation of things in Ogoni is worse than the days of Ken Saro-Wiwa. If Ken will come back today, you will not like to stay here. It's worse than what, you know, he cried out about, and people said he was just raising a false alarm. But the UNEP report recommendation are confirmed beyond the imagination of even Kensarawa.
Okay, Celestine, I'll also, because we want to let you, because this is quite expensive, you're calling us from Nigeria, and we really want to have you full-time on the program sometimes in the future. But before we let you go, tell me, you have a Niger Delta president, and you've got a cabinet filled with quite a number of people from the Niger Delta. Why are things not getting better in terms of environmental pollution, degradation, and justice for the people of the Niger Delta, especially that of Ogoni? Ogoni seems to be the core of the Niger Delta struggle for justice.
My brother, it is sad that we have a Niger Delta president. This is one country that has oil and yet import petroleum. This is one country that does not do well during elections yet send people to go and monitor elections in other countries. This is one country where budgets are debated and passed, and you have money spent on education, yet the universities have been shut down for years. This is a country where people were trying to have an educated president. You have the president with PhD, and the school have been shut down, and he does not care. So it doesn't matter whether you're from Niger Delta or not. Unfortunately, the NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission, was set up by Obasanjo, a Yoruba man. Ministry for Niger Delta was established by Yaradua, an Hausa man. The amnesty was granted by Yaradua, an Hausa man. Even the East-West Road that we are trying for was not awarded by Jonathan. Even the UNEP report we are talking about, it was Yaradua that even commissioned UNEP to do it. So it is unfortunate that we have one of our own and have decided to turn his back on
Celestine, thanks so much for calling us, for taking part in this program all the way from Ogoni land in Nigeria. And we'll have you on this program full-time basis next time. I've got Donu in the studio. Donu, you're so welcome on this program. I really just want to thank you for the sacrifice. I know it was quite difficult for you to get here and be part of this program. That was a very horrible situation, the way it's been described by Celestine.
Well, he's right about so much. The point you made was very interesting, which is that we now have a Niger Delta president. We've had one since 2010, and the cabinet is full of Niger Delta people. Well, not full, but we have quite a powerful showing this time. We have a Minister of Petroleum Resources who's from our area. We have a Ministry of Niger Delta. And it's disappointing that there's not more interest in solving some of these problems now that our people are there.
Donu, you speak with passion. The question is, could it not be tied to the Nigerian project that until we redefine the Nigerian project, that the country is not working? Maybe one of the reasons why we're not having justice for Niger Delta is that the national project is not working in itself.
Well, everything is a symptom as well as a cause. Of course, if the bigger picture isn't working very well, then you're going to have problems with component parts. And I don't suppose that the situation in the Niger Delta is any worse than the situation in impoverished parts of the north, or even in Igbo land or Yoruba land. There are certain profound dysfunctions that boil down to the fact that we're in Nigeria, and it's not area specific, it's not zone specific. But this general malaise, it's a complicated situation, because you can't really blame Goodluck Jonathan for everything bad that's going on. Nor can you, because some of these dysfunctions started long before he came along. Nor is it fair to give the impression that the only progress that has been made was started by a Yoruba president and a northern president. Because, whoever, I'm not trying to detract from what Yaradua and Obasanjo have done, that is good. But, it's not Goodluck's fault that these things were done before he came along. I guess what we would like to see him do, not just as Niger Deltans, but as Nigerians in general, is to see him picking up some of these batons and running with them very dynamically, and with a sort of like anxious, urgent determination to make progress,
For the
regardless of who exactly, regardless of which part of the country we're talking about, and regardless of who started what.
You never shy away from controversy, and you've made offers to help your country. You were appointed into the board that drafted the petroleum industry bill. You just left the platform. Why?
Well, you know, I have a very low tolerance for BS. And what I observed, are you talking about my resignation from the oil and gas?
From the oil and gas, yeah. You were appointed by the president, isn't it?
Yeah. My view was that oil and gas sector reforms will never take root, or would never take root, until the people who were supposed to be driving the process had their hearts in the right place and were being sincere. You can create all the new laws you like. If the authorities are not going to respect those laws or implement them properly, then you might as well not bother. I feel rather the same about all this talk about national dialogue, national conference, sovereign national this and talk. We can talk till the cows come home. If there's no strong intent and determination on the part of the talkers and the people who are going to enable the talk to have some kind of realistic outcome, then let's not even bother with the talk.
Well, what is the way forward in time? Because now I always say we are in a process of a national crisis, in the sense that we have a presidency that is not working well. We have even local government chairmen, wherever they are, they seem to be quite detached from the people. What is wrong with Nigeria?
I think describing local government chairmen as detached from the people is a very polite way of talking about people who, on the whole, frankly, are incompetent thieves. Now, there are exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
There are 774 local government areas in Nigeria, and there must be some good men doing that job in certain places. But on the whole, most of them have very little to show for the money they collect every month. And what shocks me is why more people don't go to jail in Nigeria. Because there are so many circumstances and situations in which it is so obvious that people have illegally enriched themselves, and often at the expense of the extremely vulnerable. As far as I'm concerned, if because of you a local hospital doesn't work properly because you've stolen all the money, and then some children die because there's no medicine, you are a murderer.
Absolutely. That brings to my mind, you know, just today before coming into the studio, we've got the minister, Sahara Reporter, as a New York-based website, broke a news about a minister getting $1.6 million for 2 armored cars. That's the Minister of Aviation. They denied it at first. Today, she confirmed it, but she said...
Has it been confirmed?
Yeah, she confirmed and said, yeah, it's for our protection because of the changes, the beautiful changes she's carrying over. She's going to attract enemies. And yeah, she's justifying it. She deserves $1.6 million to buy BMW cars. Isn't that ridiculous?
I'll be honest with you. I know Stella Odua, the Minister of Aviation, and I would count her as a woman of my generation with whom I have a cordial relationship, though I haven't sat down with her since she became a minister, but I do know her and I do like her. So I'm a little bit biased. Yeah. I would just hate to think that some of the things they say about Stella are true. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt.
She has confirmed, this has been confirmed, and take it from me that the NCAA bought 2 BMW cars, bulletproof cars, for $1.6 million. And they said, fine, it's because the minister is at threat. That's you can't vouch.
Okay, then, well, I can't justify that. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't know what armored cars cost in the first place. Yeah. Whether that 1.6 is a fair price for 2.
It's actually $200,000.
So that in itself sounds like a suspiciously high figure. And then there's the fact that you have to ask, why would she need that level of protection in the first place? She's not, as far as I can see, she's not a hated public figure. This is a woman who is going about doing her job.
Yeah, she's actually carried out some structural
She's done some good things.
changes, yeah.
So I don't know why she would feel so threatened. And as I said, we would need to ask why the job cost so much in the first place.
I've read quite a number of your articles, and I found one very interesting. You wondered what's all the noise about Nigerians' reaction to President Goodluck Jonathan's granting amnesty to Alam Esiagwa. This is a man that is wanted in the UK. He's running away from the law. You don't see any reason why we should be bothered about Jonathan granting him a presidential pardon.
You see, my argument is that if we're going to have pardons, then somebody needs to be pardoned. You either say that nobody should get pardoned, or you say that the head of state at that point in time should choose who he wants to pardon. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, we're going to keep the system of pardons in place, but we will decide whom the president pardons. What you should say, if you really object that strongly, is, okay, let us scrap the whole pardon thing completely so that nobody gets it. But I put it to you that if anybody is going to get it, that is if the system is to continue, that a thief is not the worst person to pardon. After all, there are rapists and murderers.
Yeah. And again, I would also draw your attention to this other issue. You said in one of your articles you do not see any reason why foreign aids should come to Africa. Is it to Nigeria? If I get you right, you wanted direct investment. Did I get that right?
To be honest with you, some of these things are articles that I wrote some time ago, so I can't remember exactly what I said in each article. But I would say on foreign aid, my view is generally that countries that are famed for corruption in high places should not be given any extra money by the outside world. Because you're kind of like facilitating the corruption. Even if the foreign aid cannot be stolen by the authorities in that country, a lot of it wouldn't have been needed in the first place if gaps had not been fraudulently created in the national budget back home. And I'm not just talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about a lot of developing countries that get foreign aid. If there was a way of getting the aid direct to the people, that would be a different thing.
So would you say Nigeria, with the level of corruption, would you say Nigeria is deserving of foreign aid as it is?
First, I don't think we need it.
Why?
And I don't think we deserve it.
Is it?
I've worked in Abuja for 12 years, during which time I actually did some consultancy work for foreign donor agencies. And what I observed, the Nigerian authorities were very cavalier about this help. The minute they found out that they could not get their hands on the money direct, they kind of lost interest. I'm not saying everybody was like that. In fact, I remember Donald Duke, the former governor of Cross River State, was one of the people we worked with on a European Union initiative. It was something that he was approached about, and we discussed it with him. He was very serious. He was ready to go through the process. He was ready to go through the process in a disciplined way. And you have one or two people here and there like that in Nigeria. But the majority just, they don't want to go through the process, especially if they find out that you won't just give them $10 million and let them do what they want with it.
When I told someone that Donu was going to come on this program, the reaction was like, wow. As in, people's opinion of you are quite divided. Either extreme love or, let me say, extreme misunderstanding of your person. Well, and the first one was people's annoyance at your position on Ken Saro-Wiwa.
Oh, please. Half the people who are talking about the whole Ken Saro-Wiwa issue don't even come from Ogoni as I do. Did not know Ken personally as I did. And my father was one of the people who was nearly murdered by Ken's supporters. So I have every right to be skeptical about Ken's legacy. Nothing annoys me more than all these I too know it all, smart Alec people, too sabi. Half of them don't even know the people they're commenting on.
So you did not justify the murder anyway. You did say you condemned it totally.
Exactly.
But would you, at this time in Ogoniland, there should be some form of meeting points, you know, as in the...
Let me tell you something. I did condemn Ken's execution by Abacha. It was done in completely the wrong way. No right of appeal, nothing. The whole thing was completely bungled and was very, very morally wrong in the manner it was handled. I also personally do not believe in capital punishment. So even though it is tempting to wish your enemy or somebody you dislike dead, I would try to resist that temptation. And I'm very sorry that Ken was executed. But I do think that his legacy has been quite toxic. It has polarized Ogoniland. Till today, there are pro-Ken people and anti-Ken people within Ogoniland. But I think that a lot of those wounds are gradually being healed. Yeah. I mean, for example, one of my best friends now, I would say in Ogoni, is Lejum Mite, who used to be head of Mossop, Ken's organization. Yeah. I have tremendous affection for Lejum. We stay in touch when we can. And that is a classic example of a rift being healed. Because 10, 20 years ago, Lejum's family and my family would have been completely diametrically opposed. We would have had nothing to say to each other. Yeah. You understand? So
the alien point is come.
It's not just me. There are quite a few. My cousin Kenneth Kobani, whose father was killed by Ken's supporters. We never found his body to bury. But Ken is also on good terms now with some people who used to be in Mossop. So the rifts are healing, and anybody who wants to come and pour more poison into the well by questioning my view of something I know a lot more about than they do, to hell with them. I don't care.
Talking about pouring poison, Donu, you also accused us, or let me say, that there are quite a number of people benefiting from the rift between the President Jonathan, and Governor Rotimi Amaechi. Are they not legitimate quarrels? I mean, the presidency seems to be treating the state governor like a class captain appointed by the federal government. So it's not just people pouring poison into the relationship.
I mean, I think we are all guilty to some extent of fanning flames. You know, sometimes you see people quarreling. There are things you could do to improve the situation, but you might egg them on by accident or deliberately. What I would say about the situation between my governor and friend, Rotimi Amaechi, and my president and leader, Goodluck Jonathan, for me, it is a tragedy that they're having this fight. I agree that Amaechi has a legitimate grievance. Should I say that some of Amaechi's grievances are legitimate? Amaechi and I don't necessarily agree on every issue. Yeah. But the president also has his reasons for feeling aggrieved. In fact, if you ask me, the president's main fault in all this, all these shenanigans that have been going on this year, is that he hasn't really come out and explained to us why he was so determined that Rotimi should not be Governor's Forum chairman. Why, you know, the president has not opened his heart. We've heard from Amaechi, because Amaechi is a more communicative, younger, media-friendly person. So he has told everybody what his beefs are and what is bothering him. But there's been, you know, the president hasn't, which is perhaps the more dignified course of action for an older person. I don't know. But I think it would be interesting to know exactly why he's got so upset with Amaechi in the first place, that he didn't want him to have this job. You know, and all the other things that have happened in between.
Wow. We've got viewers, we've got Donu, and it's been, all I can say is, wow. We have Donu in the studio. The phone lines are going to be open in 2 minutes, and we encourage you to call in and engage us in the way forward for Nigeria. We've got Donu Kogbara, a Nigerian journalist. She's a columnist with Vanguard newspaper, and she's quite passionate about the country, Nigeria. And when you call in, please just tell us your name, where you're calling from, and then we will let you pose a question to our guest. Donu, I'll move on from Ken and Ogoniland and talk about Nigeria now as a country with Boko Haram and the insecurity we have all over the place. It's unimaginable to some of us that at this point we're going to have Nigerians blowing themselves up under any ideology or whatever guise. What is the way forward in terms of the security situation in our homeland?
Honestly, I wish I knew. I am as flabbergasted as you are about the fact that Nigeria has suddenly become a place where young men strap bombs to themselves and walk into their perdition. I was there when it happened because I moved to Nigeria in 1999 and I didn't leave till 2011. And I still go there regularly, but I lived there full time from 99 to 2011. So I was there when Nigeria was the kind of country where something like that would never happen.
Yeah.
And then suddenly became the kind of country where it happened every day.
Taken for granted, actually. Wow.
I am totally mystified, shocked, and I really do think it has something to do with the poverty in the north. But, you know, a lot of people disagree with me.
Okay. I don't know. We've got a caller. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
Lancashire.
Okay, it's nice to have you on Politics with KO. We've got Donu. Have you got any question for Donu Kogbara?
Well, I just want to say that she reminds me so much of one of the female politicians who I knew very well, which was Margaret Inyang. And she would stand there and say what she felt, whether anybody liked it or not. And I think if we had a few more in Nigeria that did actually open their mouths and say what should be done and what shouldn't be done, I think it would get better.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of
I
you.
should have gone home to Nigeria. I'm not Nigerian except by marriage.
Oh, okay. So you're Nigerian anyway. So
I wish people would accept that, but they think because I'm white, oh well, you shouldn't open your mouth.
No, you're Nigerian. By the way, when last were you in Nigeria?
Pardon?
When was the last time? When did you visit Nigeria last?
It was when I took my husband home when he was blind in 1997 to see if we could actually move back to Nigeria.
Oh.
But unfortunately, I wouldn't take the risk after we got there.
Oh.
I witnessed things and I thought, no, he can't see. I'm going to be left in a position where I'm not going to be able to cover him or support him in any way.
Okay.
So came back.
We're so happy to have you on this program, and Donu is quite appreciative of your comments. And we've got, we encourage you to call in every Thursday. We've got another caller on the line. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, I think we've lost him. Yeah, I don't know. That's someone reminds you of a female politician that gets to speak our mind, and that's one of the things that strike me about you. You never seem to hold your punches. That like you could be.
Actually, I am constantly amazed that people think I'm so outspoken because actually, I'm pulling my punches now. If you heard what I really think about so many things, I think we would have to switch off the lights or turn off the camera. I mean, the truth of the matter is that when you speak publicly, either as a newspaper columnist or a commentator on TV or whatever, there are certain responsibilities attached to public speaking.
Well, on Politics with KO, we encourage you to say your mind. But before then, we've got Daniel. Daniel, good evening. Hello, good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
Calling from Essex.
Okay, we've got Donu in the studio. Let's have your question, please.
Okay. Hi, Donu.
Hi.
Good to see you on telly. You see, we have the presidency in Nigeria. It's either you go, you get there, not just in Nigeria, in Africa, most third world countries, get there via the gun, or you assume the office through democratic means. I don't know where you can come into this. People like you should be up there, Donu. Seriously, we need people like you running the affairs in Nigeria.
Well,
I don't know if you want to go into politics at some point.
Well, that's very kind of you. That's a very kind compliment. But what I would say is that there have been plenty of people like me who have gone into politics in Nigeria since 1960. I don't know which camera I'm supposed to be looking at. That one, yeah. Right. Okay, sorry. There have been plenty of people like me. But what I've noticed about Nigeria is once they get there, something very strange happens. I mean, take the Minister of Finance, for example, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala. You can't say that people like her are not quality people.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying she's doing a terrible job, but she's kind of lost her edge, her gloss, that aura of top-class integrity. And I think it's very difficult. So the reason, maybe if I went in and joined them, the same thing would happen to me.
Yeah, there's a spirit in Abuja. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks for calling. Now we have another caller on the line. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening, is that Matthew? Okay, I think the phone lines are going.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, Matthew. Good evening, welcome to Politics with KO. You've got a question for Donu. Hello, can we have your question, please?
Yeah, my question is just I just want to contribute. I want to contribute to what it is.
Yeah, go ahead and contribute. Yeah.
So actually, I would.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to leave Matthew there, and Donu, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the debt crisis that we're in. I know you mentioned Minister Okonjo-Iweala, and she's saying our economy is stable, we're doing fine, and everything is going on well.
Did she really say that?
Yeah, she said...
Well, this is what I mean. And maybe if I join the Nigerian government, I'll start saying things that aren't true.
So do you disagree with her?
Totally.
That the economy is not going on well?
It is not going well.
She said, Okonjo-Iweala is saying to us that, look, we don't have the kind of crisis America is having now.
That's because we don't have such a sort of regulated, transparent, orderly system, you know? And we don't have such a robust democracy. The reason Obama is getting all this stress is because
there are checks and balances.
There are checks and balances, and there are people with different opinions who are challenging him. I mean, I personally am very angry with them because he's our boy. But the Republicans have their points, and they've confronted him. That kind of thing. It's very, very... Countries that, in a strange way, countries that work better, in a general sense, sometimes look worse. If you understand what I'm saying.
Because people debate issues, they challenge the authorities, they make sure that things are done properly.
Exactly. It's like Nigerians are always telling me things like, you know, those white people, they are such perverts with their homosexuality and their child sex abuse and all those things. And I say it happens in Nigeria. We just don't address the problems. It doesn't come out. The perpetrators don't go to jail. I'm talking about the child sex abuse. On the homosexuality, I am personally in favor of gay rights. And in Nigeria, you have a whole load of gay men and women in hiding, and they're all married.
Even in power, as I was made to understand.
So what I'm trying to say is that it's easy to say that the Nigerian economy is working better because we're not on the edge of a precipice like the one that Obama has recently stood on the edge of. But the truth of the matter is that, well, how would we know? The statistics are lousy. Everything, the whole thing is so chaotic. How would you really know what's going on? I can only tell you what it's like. I go there every month. I can only tell you what people tell me on the streets, in my house, the people who work for my family, in the house.
So the views on the streets,
people on the streets, the people, even in the ministry.
They have a different view from the minister's position of us having a robust economy. Emeka, good evening.
My dear, I've not met anybody who is in a good mood about the economy, including some of the president's friends.
Hello.
Hello, Emeka. Good evening, Emeka. So we got really going. I've got Donu in the studio, and this is Politics with KO. What question do you have for us here?
Oh yes, I do not quite agree with the lady, and
guy over there. It's like she is biased because recently I came from River State.
Yeah.
Majority of the people there do never support Amechi. And he can't tell me.
How do you know the majority don't support him? Have you done an opinion poll?
Yeah, first time in the history of Nigeria.
Please answer my question.
First time in the history of Nigeria, a South Niger Delta has become the president of Nigeria, and you want to kick him out to be the vice president, which is very bad, which is wrong. And first time we have a listening president in our country. First time the president has performed for a good election in Nigeria. First time we had a president who have listened to everybody, who have done very well to the society.
Okay, so Emeka, Donu has got some questions for you. If you just hold on a minute.
First of all, I want to know how he knows whether the majority supports somebody or not in a country where there are no straight opinion polls. Secondly, I find it really strange for him to say that I'm biased, because I think I started this conversation by saying that I wished Amechi and the president were not quarreling. So you are the one who is biased. You're the one who entered this conversation with preconceptions, and which are quite frankly offensive, and I'm not willing to continue talking to you.
Okay, I'll take Jimmy Dangote. Jimmy, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please, sorry to say, good evening. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you clearly. Where are you calling from, and what's your name, please?
What's wrong with
you've got to reduce the volume of your TV so we can hear you clearly. Hello, good evening. Can
I just say something while we have this?
Before then, Donu, why is it that people always equate anyone opposed to any policy of the presidency seems to be there's this misconception that it's because it's from the Niger Delta, it wants to be kicked out. Why do we have that?
I was going to say, it's funny because I was going to make this point earlier when you were talking about the problem between Amechi and the president.
Yeah.
You see, we come from a society in which people have a very, very, very high level of sycophantic regard for authority. Very high level. I mean, this is a country where people go down on their stomachs to greet older people. In your culture, for example, Dobale.
Yeah.
Rankadede culture. We even have special titles. Where my mother comes from, my mother's Igbo, people refer to older people by a special title. And the same thing goes for authority figures, right? So, one of Amechi's crimes, in inverted commas, is that he has dared to rebel against our senior brother, our Oga. No, I'm talking even about just this thing about authority. Yeah. Goodluck is older than us. Mr. President, he's our Mr. President. And so we must do everything he asks us to do because he is our boss. Right? Now, that is a very Nigerian attitude, and I'm not sure it's healthy. On this issue of Amechi trying to replace Mr. President and betray the Niger Deltan, I was quite concerned about that myself, and I confronted Amechi. I said to him, I hope you don't, you're not doing all this because you want to be vice president. You know? And he told me he wasn't. I've discussed it with him a number of times. I'm going to take his word for it.
Well, I've got another caller. Aloy, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Where are you calling from, please, and what's your name, please?
My name is Bamidele.
Okay, Bamidele, yeah, it's good to have you. Can you please make your contribution?
Yeah, please, I'm going to the Madam Monday for program.
Yeah, Donu, yeah.
Yeah, and yourself, you are doing a very wonderful job.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I have to disagree with the last caller that said something about Governor Amechi. Governor Amechi and Goodluck problem started as far back as 2011 when Goodluck became president of Nigeria. I totally disagree with the guy that people in Rivers State, they don't like Amechi. If you go to Rivers State, go to your own work in Rivers State, no majority of people in Rivers State, they love Amechi are excellent. Amechi is a leader. It's somebody that Nigerians can vouch for. It's somebody that people love so much. Mr. President refuses to answer questions on him because he knows people are not ready to listen to Deltans.
Okay. Okay, I'll get you your point, and because we've got quite a number of people on the line now.
But before you go on, let me apologize to Emeka for saying I wouldn't talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
He can come back on the line if he wants, but I just hate it when people misquote me.
Okay, we take good evening. We've got another caller. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Where are you calling from, please?
From Luton.
Okay, we've got Donu in the studio.
Okay, I tried to ask her about the issue of Boko Haram.
Okay.
Because you asked her a question about Boko Haram, she couldn't say any concrete.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Yeah, because she simply said she doesn't know. You know, what can we do?
Listen, if somebody who claims that they are Nigerians, they've been following the Nigerian politics, say they don't know. The question I want to ask is that before Jonathan Goodluck became the president of Nigeria, was there anything called, say, Boko Haram or issues of bombing in Nigeria? No. The answer is what? No. But immediately he was sworn in, he declared during his swearing-in ceremony, he said his name is Jonathan Goodluck. Well, after that, Buhari made a statement that Nigeria will never see any peace anymore.
Okay.
3 weeks later, that bombing started.
Okay, you've made your point, and I would wonder where Maitosine and all the other crises before Boko Haram, how would classify them? Would we classify them as friendly fire? Because I know we've had Maitosine riots, we've had killings in the northern part of the country.
It just gets worse and worse. Boko Haram is the worst version of Islamic fundamentalism so far. But then I've noticed that about Nigeria. Things seem to get worse rather than better. Corruption gets worse. Everything gets worse. I don't wish to trivialize. When I say I don't know, though, I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, and that's why. Yeah, I'm not even sure those in authority have got any solution. And now we've got Jimmy on the line. Jimmy, good evening.
With the lady.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. This is Jimmy on the line.
Okay, where are you calling from, Jimmy?
I'm from London.
Okay, make your contribution, please.
Yeah, my contribution is Mr. President Jonathan said there's a lot of corruption in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And my question is, how about his wife that she was appointed as,
Permanent secretary.
Permanent secretary
yeah.
in one of the states, and she doesn't report to the office, and she's getting the money. What are we going to call that one?
Yeah, I'll let Donu answer. Just stay on the line, Donu. Yeah, that's an interesting angle there. We've got the First Lady, who is also a permanent sec, and she's not attending.
I criticized that move very strongly at the time when it came up. I think was it last year?
Yeah.
I mean, it's wrong. That job should go to people who deserve it, who've worked for it, ordinary civil servants who are there to do the job properly. I don't know why Madame wants that title. I don't get it.
Okay, Jimmy, you've got an answer there. Are you okay there with that answer?
No, I'm not okay, because if she's supposed to give the job to another person, as you said.
That's exactly what Donu has just said, yeah.
And now, the education in Nigeria, she went to China to go and get an award. And a lot of people, students are strike. They cannot go, and she is going there to get an award. Is it right? They are killing all the university because they have money, sending their own children. I'm not praying for them, but God is there to judge, because most of them went on free education. And now they are punishing all the innocent people.
Yeah,
God is there to judge them.
Yeah, Jimmy, thanks. That's actually an interesting angle Jimmy brought out there. You know, the week when we have ASU strike, the First Lady got her 4th doctorate award in South Korea. That was last week. A university in South Korea gave her another doctorate title.
Why?
And well,
did they explain their reasons?
We just saw the presidency released photographs of First Lady, another doctorate.
Are they looking for contracts in Nigeria?
So maybe the Koreans want to replace the Chinese. Ken, good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening, Ken. We've lost
it's
Ken.
Like Ben TV phone lines are as bad as the phone lines in Nigeria.
We've got Ken. We've lost Ken now. Yeah. Donu, would you take up another appointment from the presidency if you offered? If there are any areas of expertise that you think you'll be able to make contributions?
It just depends on what it was. You know, I've been offered things at state level and federal level in the past, which I have said no, if I felt it wasn't something I would be comfortable with. Not that people are begging me every day to become a minister or anything, but things come up. What I would say just depends on what it is. If they offer you something you know you can't do well, or that your conscience won't sit well with it, it's better to say no. But if they offer you something you feel you can do well, why not?
And in 2015, what do you think about this issue of rotational presidency? Like, Goodluck Jonathan, is he deserving of, with his performance so far, is he deserving of a second term?
Let me tell you something that's really, really important for non-Niger Delta people to understand about Goodluck Jonathan. He is an emotional symbol. For years and years and years and years, we yearned to have a South-South presidency. Some of us actively campaigned for it. And when he came, he may not necessarily have been the person that everybody would have chosen. Maybe if you had asked Niger Delta people to vote, who they would have wanted to be their first ever president, I don't know if they would have picked Dr. Jonathan. But the fact is that he's there now. And you know something? No matter his shortcomings or mistakes or days or weeks when he doesn't do well or months when he doesn't do well, the majority of Niger Delta people want him to carry on just because of the symbolic nature of who.
But for how long as a country are we going to go on with giving people a second chance based on where they come from?
I agree with you. It's not the best reason. You know, this tribal thing, get as it be, as they say. I mean, you know, there are much better grounds on which to promote or demote people. But I'm just telling you that Niger Delta people just have a special thing about Goodluck. Many of them will say, the man is totally useless, but let him stay there. Do you understand? Some people think he's not useless at all. They say that he's fantastic, that the only reason people are criticizing him is because he's not, you know. So, let it be. There's nothing you can do to persuade certain people. You understand? Looking at the, what do you think? Tell me.
Well, I would want to say that the people of the country should decide. The votes should decide. But you have not held back. You wrote one article that was one of the last your article that I found very interesting. You describe people around Jonathan as useless.
They are.
We've got foremost environmental activist Toronto Douglas. We've got Alice Maduekwe. We've got. How would you describe such people as useless?
Well, I always say there are exceptions to every rule. And diplomacy dictates that you don't name those exceptions on every occasion. Of course, there are people around Jonathan who are worthwhile. But believe you me, the majority of them are not doing a good job. They're not giving him good advice. They're no good for his image. And he could do with a better team.
Out of 30, how many ministers would you think he needs to sack or special advisors that will make things better for him?
I can't say, but, you know, at least, it's like the last reshuffle. The ones he got rid of were the ones nobody was complaining about.
Some I had on them for the first time, actually. I've got Mohammed on the line. Mohammed, good evening.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. What I wanted to observe, I remember during Obasanjo's period when he was about to exit, there was some money which was set aside for the rehabilitation of textiles. That is about 75 billion pounds. And I remember when the present vice president was here, he said he was the chairman of that fund. That is 75 billion pounds for the rehabilitation of textiles. This money has been accumulating interest. The money has been accumulating interest in the bank. That is since the exit of Obasanjo, and nothing has been done to any textile.
Okay, Mohammed, just hold on. I've got another caller. Mohammed, don't go. I've got another caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Kayode.
Yeah, you just heard what Mohammed said now. Obasanjo left money in the account for textile. That's disappeared. Welcome. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from London. My name is Chris.
Okay.
I disagree with what Mohammed is saying.
Refreshing and smooth. Unique, tasty and pure. Afromalt. A satisfying true malt drink. Accept no imitations. Afromalt. Afromalt. Some things have no equal. Afromalt.
Come to the KICC one-day business school and be empowered to take over the marketplace, prosper in your business and make a difference in God's kingdom. With host Matthew Ashimolowo, CEO of 10 profitable companies, and guest speakers Faith Chuador Matthews, CEO of the Main Street Bank Nigeria, national and international award-winning businessman Nigel Shanakira, CEO of the Kingdom Bank Africa Limited Zimbabwe, and Hakeem Oganiran, CEO of the UACN Property Development Company Nigeria. The KICC one-day business school, featuring intensive training sessions on overcoming financial hardship, taking your business from local to global, 101 insights on real estate and more. On Saturday, October 19th from 10 a.m. at KICC Press City, Buckmore Park, Maidstone Road, Chatham, Kent, ME5. Admission is free, but registration is required. Register online at kicc.org.uk or call Kingsway International Christian Centre on 020-8525-0000 now.
Refreshing and smooth. Unique, tasty and pure. Afromalt.
Be able to sanitize a ministry that is a symbol of the worst of African corruption. I mean, who am I?
Well, Donu, it's been so interesting to have you on this program. I really want to thank you because you've the sacrifice. I know it was almost impossible for you to be here in person, but you just went through that sacrifice.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed coming. It was very kind of you to invite me.
Yeah, and I hope we're going to have you again when next year in London. Thanks, and we just pray Nigeria gets better. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, viewers, it's been an interesting day today. We've got Donu Kogbara in the studio. Controversial, as people say. Next week is going to be very interesting, where it's Black History Month. We're going to have four people from three from Zimbabwe, and an English lady from the platform who is going to talk about Nigeria passionately, because we want to go to our other African countries and see what's happening, if there are positive things we can get out of other parts of Africa. We're glad to have you on Politics with KO. This is the end of the program. I want to thank everyone for taking part in the telephone calls, and my producer, Tony Ngozi, Ayo, and everyone that has made this show possible today. See you next Thursday. Good night. God bless you. And may Nigeria be great again.
Hi folks, my name is Niger Deltans, but my friends and fans do call me D1. Whenever I'm in London, or even in the diaspora, I keep it locked because I watch Ben Television, Ben TV.
Come to the KICC one-day business school and be empowered to take over the marketplace, prosper in your business and make a difference in God's kingdom. With host Matthew Ashimolowo, CEO of 10 profitable companies, and guest speakers Faith Chuador Matthews, CEO of the Main Street Bank Nigeria, national and international award-winning businessman Nigel Shanakira, CEO